Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Warrior Spotlight, where the stories are real, the emotions are raw, and the hearts are courageous. Tonight, we have a very, as my husband calls him, the one, the only, the famous William Bruck in the house.
Yay, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, yeah, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little detail, a little snippet of who you
Dang,
are.
that's a little snippet now?
I'm not reading the whole thing, just a little snippet.
Gosh.
Just so people know.
He's got some accolades. Is that what they call it?
He does have some accolades,
No
yes.
wonder he's a myth. Or no, the legend.
Yes,
a
exactly.
Myth, he is a freaking living legend. Go ahead.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Give it to him.
William T. What's the T?
Thomas?
Middle initial.
Yeah, we know that. Is it Thomas? Is it?
Okay. Yeah, I guess
We're
it's
still
real.
finding out what it was. Is it Thomas?
What is it?
No.
Terrence?
It's Timothy.
Timothy.
Timothy. Okay. It's good to know these things. Okay. All right. I won't give out your address. You do have 9 beautiful children.
Yes, he does.
Yes. You are the owner of Visiting Angels, and you're going to have an opportunity to talk about that and tell us what that is. Okay. Your education, I really wasn't sure you had any until I actually seen this document today.
It's doubted by
Where did you go to school? High school.
She has Monroe.
Did you?
I graduated from Monroe.
Monroe. Okay.
Monroe.
We went to Bedford. We're mules.
That's yeah.
Okay.
But the reason he's here is because of his military service. He enlisted in the Army in 1992, which was so long ago, right? We just
Wow.
talked about that.
It's
Yeah,
almost
15 years ago, almost. Yeah.
That's when I went
29.
in too.
This is
I know.
29 years
Yeah.
old, huh? Good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks
And-
for your service.
Yeah, right? I know it. He is a CW4, which is a Chief Warrant Officer. You're going to tell us what that is too, a little
Right.
bit more.
What I can tell you, I'll tell you.
Yes,
Oh.
without having to kill my husband. Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
I like that one.
Right. You just completed your 4th tour.
Wow.
Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate that. 2003, Iraq 2009, Afghanistan 14 to 15, and Iraq, Syria 2021. Holy schmoly. And then you are a community legend around Monroe County as well. You're involved in everything.
For good reasons or bad?
But probably both.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Everybody knows William Bruck, and it's all for the
I
good
know it.
reasons. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to start with a little behind the scenes, right? I know we talked about it on one of our original shows, but give us a little bit of, did you have family members that were in the military, or, what led you to the military?
Well, back when I was born at Mercy, it used to be Mercy there in Monroe.
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 Anyways, my father was an Army veteran. He never left the U.S. He was down in Texas for a few years with the. It was a 2nd Armored Division back in Vietnam era, but he never went overseas. So he gave us a choice, or not really a choice, but he gave us a lot of direction. My father gave us a lot of advice. He never graduated from high school. He quit when he was in 9th grade, and then went and joined the Army. And so he gave us a lot of advice. And his advice was, go to college, get a good job, don't be a tree trimmer like me, and do not join the Army. Was really his choice that he gave us. Don't join the Army ever. And so I was one of 8 children, and I was the dumb one of the family. So I joined the Army.
You're defiant. I got you.
Yeah, he said get an education.
And you said
So-
no. All right.
Yeah, so I joined the Army, then got an education, but yeah,
Did any of your siblings join?
no.
How many siblings do you have? How many brothers or sisters?
There was 8 of us.
8 of us.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
There was 5 boys, 3 girls.
Mhm. You're the only one that
Also-
served.
Yep, right.
Okay.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Amazing.
You old, where did you fit in there? I mean,
Middle child. I'm
Middle.
number 5.
in there. Are you? Okay.
Yeah, it's a black sheep.
Awesome.
That's why you joined the Army.
Right.
Yeah, beat on by the older ones, told on by the younger ones, and then beat on by parents. So it,
Dang,
all
wow.
worked out, yeah.
Sounds like a tough story.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. But I was a troublemaker growing up too, so that's probably
Good.
where I get that from.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I've carried that on throughout my lifetime.
So you picked the Army because why?
Well, I walked into the Marine recruiter at the time. I mean, I had no brains back then, but I did walk into the Marine
You're
recruiter.
leaving that really open for me.
Yeah, and I still don't have brains, but I met the recruiter and he said, "Son, boy, don't you want to be like me?" And he started yelling at me, and I'm like, "No, sir." So I walked out and I walked into the Army recruiting and signed right up.
Okay, he didn't say that to you?
No, he's much nicer. And then you get to basic training and get sort of yelled at the entire time. But at the time, he is much nicer.
Right. They always are
recruiter,
great
yeah.
salesmen, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are great salesmen.
They are. They signed me up for everything, and I got nothing. So it worked out great. Uncle Sam still has me. So I guess something happened good on their side.
So I always like to hear the basic training stories, a little behind those. So tell us what that was like. I know you just said that you got beat on by your older siblings, but what was basic training like for you? Was it cake? Was it just a mind thing?
Well, it was my first time down south going to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and it was in the winter, and I thought it would be really warm down south, and I was mistaken. January and February is not warm.
Pretty much anywhere
in
north of Florida, right?
Kentucky, yeah. It was horrible snow, and so I was, much to my dismay, it was very cold. It was a fun time. I mean, bivouac, when you went out for our bivouac, it was pretty cold, sleeping in the snow.
Tell the viewers what a bivouac is.
Oh,
For the civilian viewers who don't know.
Camp out in the woods. It was a fun time. And I do recall that I was able to sneak some cookies through the mail system. And I know young people don't understand what mail is nowadays, but back then you get these packages. And that was the only way you could communicate, because you could call, like after a month, we got to call home once. And then, but then we never got really to call very often because we were always in trouble. So we lost our privileges. But I did get a package in the mail, and then a buddy of mine, we got that package, and I don't know how it got snuck, because they usually opened all the packages and they would inspect it. And if it was food, the drill sergeants would eat it right in front of you. So you never really got that. But we got it. And so we got up about 2:00 in the morning. And we went behind the wall lockers, and me and my buddy Castro from Hawaii, we ate a whole box of Russian tea cakes.
Oh, wow.
And the next day we're both sick. As
I was going to
dogs,
say, yeah.
But it was the best.
Yeah,
it was the best food we ate the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was a good
It was
experience.
worth it. Yeah. I was going to say, when you said that, it's funny because they probably would say, like, as they ate the cookies, your mom made you cookies, and here, boy, Mrs. Bruck made some great cookies, as the drill sergeant ate your cookies. Right. But
yeah, and then my parents showed up for basic training, the graduation.
Sure.
And we had a drill sergeant. He called him, he said he was the devil's son. And he's a Vietnam vet. So back then there was Vietnam vets, quite a few in the military. And he's a drill sergeant with the brightest blue eyes. And he used to tell us all these stories of Satan and how he knew Satan. And he talked to Satan every night. And I truly believe he did. But he was the meanest man I've ever met in my life. I mean, he literally, that's the only time I cried in basic was he had me in front of him and he told me that he was going to make me
this
disappear.
is being recorded.
Yeah, it's being recorded. I'm sure he's gone now.
No, I mean, people, the legend and the myth, now they're going to know you cried.
Well, that's the only time I've ever cried in my life.
Oh, he was just getting to the good part of the story.
He's going to get back there, I can tell.
Okay,
he's good at this.
So, you can't put your hands in your pocket during basic training. Well, I had my hand in my pocket and a drill sergeant yelled at me and I smiled because it was a sheepish smile. And I kind of chuckled and took my hand out anyway. It went through the route and then went to my drill sergeant. And so in the middle of the night, he had me up in his office alone in the dark and was telling me a story how he was going to make me disappear and no one would ever find me again. That's the only time I ever cried, I think. And a tear went down my cheek in basic training as he was, inches from my nose telling me how he was going to make me disappear. And
for having your hand in your pocket.
For just respecting the drill sergeant was his interpretation.
What's the reasoning for not having your hands in your pocket?
Because you do nothing smart in the Army.
Oh, no, I got you. Well, no, at the railroad you can't, because if you trip, you can't put your hands up to catch yourself. So I was assuming there was some type of...
it's just Army.
I got you.
Army. Sure. There's the right way and the
Army's way. Right. That's why you fold your clothes a certain way. And all that.
Yeah.
I got you. Structure.
Yeah.
So at graduation, my mother, this gentleman, if use that term loosely, was
The spawn of Satan.
quite the spawn of Satan.
Right.
Satan. He's quite a womanizer, and so as
Oh, was he?
soon as
Yeah.
my mother came and for the graduation, anyway, she thought his eyes were beautiful because
Oh,
they're bright
yeah.
blue eyes, and so in the end, she asked him to have me do some exercises, and so in my class A's, or my greens, I'm there doing flutter kicks and push-ups with the drill sergeant and my mother and my brothers watching. Yeah, it was. I could have killed him and
Her
everybody.
too.
Yeah.
What was that about, though? I mean, just
Because she wanted pictures of me
Oh,
doing exercise.
I got you.
So,
No,
With
I
blue
got-
eyes.
yeah, with
in
Mr.
front of
Blue
Mr.
Eyes.
Spawn of Satan, right? Yes.
Okay.
Spewing
So
venom.
that's my basic training.
I
story.
gotcha. It's pretty
It
vivid.
was horrible.
I see it all, man. That's good.
It was horrible.
But what's so great about that, and the reason that I like to ask is because when do we really talk about basic training?
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We
When do
try
we-
to put it out of our mind.
You're right. We do. Right. And so,
Well, you dug deep and got it.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
Because sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad, but sometimes they show us where we've come from, right?
Mhm.
And how much we've gained and what we've done, right?
Or why we're so messed up today. I mean,
Well,
that could
and it's
Or
funny
it
because
could have been-
me not serving, but also going to basic for Cody, summer stuff, but went to Paris Island for Stevens to the Marines,
Mhm,
and how I'll never forget all that.
mhm.
Just because, and I just was there absorbing it, but how all that, the drill sergeants are jogging up the streets, with their flights or the platoons or whatever, but how they were in the middle of the night, you see them coming off the bus and they're in their civilians standing side to side and they're walking to teach that from tripping, with their clothes on. Then I'm wondering what they're doing over in this field. And then here's the graduating classes and jogging up the streets in their green tight shorts and their belts, their reflective belts, right? And all the young kids had massive glutes and butts. And the old timers are following up the rear with their silver mohawks or whatever, the flat tops, and their flat butts. I'll never forget it. I'm like, meaning they're 50 years our age, my age, right? And how they've lost that, but they're still running with that whole flight. And there's 4 or 5 with BC glasses, but they all looked alike except that, as they're running.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it was a good time to forget for sure. I used to think my father yelled a lot. I tell people, I heard.
Sounds like my dad.
I heard more about God in 1 week than I heard in a year of Sundays. But,
Right.
my dad used to yell a lot, and then I realized that basic training. I'm like, my dad doesn't yell
at all.
nearly
You
as much as I
wanted to go
thought he
home,
did.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never heard so much swearing in my life. But that was before stress cards and
Yeah. I seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was
Yeah,
telling us that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
We don't
know.
want to go there, huh?
No.
Stress cards. Oh my
yeah,
God.
there's still
We're shooting
still
rubber bullets
physical-
next.
or I should say, verbal abuse was okay back then.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
in the
It
early
was.
90s. That
I
did
can
change,
imagine.
but-
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So
horrible.
I mean, yes.
We don't want to go there. It's another show
Yeah. So much of it is
on a
changed.
different channel, Andy.
But I did realize what the pit of hell was. He did
Right.
introduce it.
Well, he was Blue Eyes and the Spawn of Satan. I mean, you're right there on the edge.
Yeah. He went to the pit of hell a few times, so that was
That's awesome.
good memories to forget.
Yeah. So, real quick on that note, now, what you just said about your dad and your siblings and you going, how are you with your children and going? Is that anything that's ever been mentioned, or is that?
About his kids joining.
Yes,
If they
yeah.
wanted to join.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh,
Have
they're
you-
not that crazy.
aren't they?
No.
After this show, they might either two are signing up or not. They're running for the hills.
Well, I
No,
guess
I'm
honest
just curious.
truth is
Yeah.
the older ones that
Mhm.
probably think about it
Mhm.
have no desire,
Right.
just because of the, after 3, 4
Seeing what
deployments.
you're going through, right?
Yeah, there's no
Possibly,
There's
yeah.
no
I got you.
thought in their mind to ever
Mm-hmm.
do that. So.
I
Which
got
is
it.
good.
Has it ever been talked about with the boys or anything, or just any?
I've encouraged them
Have you?
not to do it.
Oh, you have. Okay,
Yeah.
like your dad.
yeah, like my dad, but actually,
Not
they-
as many gods in there. It is loud.
Yeah.
Okay. We tend to learn what our dads did wasn't right, so hopefully we don't do that with our
we,
kids.
we try not to. We
Right.
Try not to.
Mhm.
I do have a few of his bad traits and some of
Well,
his good traits.
Sure. That's what makes us who we are.
And then I made up enough bad traits of my own. So
Right,
it's
right,
worked
right.
out.
hmm
Okay, moving on from basic training.
Right.
Fast forward us through your career.
Oh goodness. Well,
Your transition to where you got into being a warrant
Cool.
officer.
Well, I could say, I joined I almost got out in 2001. That was I don't know if it was my goal, but 2001, I was ready to get out. I'd been in long enough. I went through college at that time. I was married. We had
When did you meet Natalie? That's what I was wondering.
Child. I met her at college.
College?
Up in
Okay.
Wisconsin, yeah.
All right. In
In
Wisconsin.
the late
Okay.
90s,
Mhm.
mid 90s. But in 2001, our unit, I was part of the 983rd down in Monclova as an engineer. After I got out of college, I joined the engineers because previous to that, I was a Intel analyst.
Mhm.
I was I don't even know what the MOS is now, but it's an Intel analyst. So I had to change MOSs because it wasn't available here. And so I became an engineer, and they were going to Egypt for their AT. It was a month-long AT, and I thought, well, I want to go to Egypt. I've been in the military this long. I've never been overseas. I want to go to Egypt.
Right.
Like, well, your ETS is coming up, and you can't go unless you extend. I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
Right.
You know how
You're not getting a
they're not recruiters, but
Mhm.
I really think I got the wool over my eyes. But anyway, instead of extending, I re-upped for 3 years, and I re-upped on September 9th, 2011, or 2001. I mean, sorry,
Mhm.
September 9th, 2001.
Mhm.
And then 3 days later, we flew out, and then, we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001,
Mhm.
and the rest is history. So I was in
Wow.
Egypt, and we're actually in the air the morning of September 11th. I was in the air, we're landing. And so that was and back then they could completely black out everything. So
Mhm.
we had no communication back home. Nobody knew what we were doing. We didn't know what was going on in the US for at least probably about a week and a half. till
Wow,
we finally
really?
found out what had
Wow.
happened.
Wow. That's a while. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I remember all the emotions and things.
Sure.
But then coming home 4 weeks later was just, it was a different world.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Different world.
Because you were deployed that June and July. You were over there.
I went in 2007. I
Okay.
didn't go that early.
That was your last one?
That was
Because I remember you calling me and said, read the paper, and that you got some of the air defense sites down.
no.
And then 9/11
Mhm.
happened, 2000.
No. I
Somebody's
was-
memory here is
Yeah,
mixed.
I was home. I was at home when
Right.
9/11
I
hit.
understand, but prior to that, you were over in Iraq. Your one deployment, you were over.
No, I went to Iraq after 2011. I mean 2001.
One.
I don't know
I
why.
messed you all up. I said 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I messed you up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it messed me up too.
So
No,
after
gotcha.
that, you just get joked. I used to get teased at work, prior to that, about being a reserve weekend warrior.
Yeah,
all
she's got that. Yeah.
business.
Mhm.
And
Well, you don't know
after-
what it's like. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
They'd say to you.
Yeah. And I worked in a place where there were, prior service individuals that were active, and they looked at reservists as, some
Mhm. Less
riffraff.
than, sure. I can imagine. Mhm.
So, but after that point, really it became, people started asking, are you going to get it? It's not really a question of if, it's when,
Mhm.
really is once they started. But the first deployment was 2003. And so we had 5-day notice, and I was gone for about 18 months. So that was a long time. I
Yeah.
had two children at that time.
Mhm.
I just moved down to Erie. And so we had a lot going on, but
Yeah.
only a very short notice to leave.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. Mm-hmm.
And was saying that with the Army Reserve, because Summer is in the Army Reserve, so we talk about that, right? And they talk about the mobility of the reserve versus the mobility of the active components.
Oh yeah, very much more agile. I mean, back then, it took a lot longer at the MOB sites, and that because we weren't prepared for what we were going into. Really, it was. But in all our MOB training, it was all MBC training, and not one lick of convoy training. All these things that we actually did do there,
Right.
we had no training on. We're learning how to put on a pro mask, in 10 seconds over and over and over again, and learn how to tie knots and do obstacle courses. But, in reality, we did not a lick of convoy training. It was just, we had no clue what we're going to be doing.
Right.
But yeah, during that tour, so to take you back a little bit, I got into the apprenticeship in 2000, as a lineman. So doing electrical work. And so when I went overseas, I was doing a lot of electrical projects even back then as an enlisted. I was an E6 in 2003. And so that's when I met my first warrant officer, was there. And he was part of Prime Power, and we're doing a large project, and I was QCing a civilian, I should say Iraqis were contractors for this large project. And there was a lot of mistakes in the design that I realized as the QC. And anyway, that's how I met this warrant officer who had actually designed it. And long story short, we had a very long meeting, and once the warrant officer said his 2 sentences, I don't even know if it was 2 sentences. He said, "I designed it. I looked at it. It'll work." That was the end of the meeting. It was over.
Oh, okay. And you seen flaws in. Now, was he an Iraqi or was
no? He's American. He's
really?
American. He's a CW2 at the time.
Wow.
Like, and the full-bird colonel shut his book and said, "Thank you, gentlemen, for the meeting." And for the next 3-4 years, North Liberty and Victory up there, and the whole Victory base complex was rolling brownouts for years. You know,
Because of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I look back like I told you so. But at that moment, I was like, I am never coming back to this godforsaken country. But if I ever do, I want to be that guy.
Right. So that
I never thought I'd go back.
Right. You went back as that guy. As that
I
guy.
went back as that guy.
Yeah.
As that guy. But
Right.
but in 2005,
Did you
I
go
got
check
back
the
in
project out
04.
though and see?
Oh, it was messed up. Yeah, actually in 2009. It was fixed by
I was
09
joking, but I got you. Yeah.
when I went back. But in 09, I
Yeah.
went back as a warrant officer. But 2005, I applied to be a warrant officer and got in 06.
So what is a warrant officer? The only thing I think of when I hear warrant is like I got a warrant out for me.
Yeah, that's because you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Billy. But that's
Man on the run.
I'm on the lamb. But go ahead.
It's a technical expert, essentially.
Is it?
Like each
I've been
field.
I've been a technical expert.
You can't even say it. So
I'm laughing, man.
Let's just stick with William. Okay?
Historically,
He said I was a bad guy. I thought we had something in common. You said that. You said
we'll talk
in
later.
Monroe, you
Yeah.
was really tearing it up
Yeah.
back then, right?
yeah, if you talk to a few of my
North
high
of the
school
river or
teachers,
south of the river?
North of the river. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pull everybody
Yeah,
back
thank
to
you.
our conversation.
Back to the
What a
project
warrant officer is.
Yeah.
So it's a technical expert. So historically, about 50-60% of all the warrants in the Army are helicopter pilots. So
Oh, okay.
historically, they're that, and then like a quartermaster or paymaster, like historically. And then they opened up the positions throughout the Army for technical experts in those fields. So
I gotcha.
as an engineer, as an engineering warrant, or we're an engineering technician. We do project management, design, base ops, construction,
Oh, I gotcha.
things like that.
That's
So
cool.
more
Yeah.
oversight for
Sure.
engineers. We're supposed to be technical.
So that's what you're
experts
doing
in
right now.
construction and things.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm in a unique situation right now in a unique unit, but with the engineer unit and engineer battalion, it was a lot of PM and design
Sure.
and just fielding questions from
From what I hear,
construction.
what I've heard in my experience is that basically then that's where you would go in and you would set up a base in the golf course for the Air Force and so forth so that they could come in.
Yeah, in
and-
swimming pool.
You-
in swimming pool,
So-
and then they would
We'll be
come
thrown
in.
off the show.
Easy,
I
killer.
will not
I
have
will
a
tip tables.
co-host.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You can't join their Air Force jokes.
Yeah, but base camp master planning and
Let
base
me get
construction
trip this cord up.
became a big deal. And
I gotcha.
And you talked about reservists earlier. That first tour,
Mhm.
I mean, we were pitted up against a lot of active duty troops. I mean, back in 03, there was 160 or 80,000 troops that went in.
Wow.
And I think like half of that was 45% or so were reservists and
Mhm.
guardsmen.
Right.
All the logistics and support, like engineers, were all reservists or
Mhm.
guardsmen.
Sure.
And the active duty, they had a big stigma against us back then. I mean,
Mhm.
we went in with light skinned vehicles. We went in with greens on, black boots, M1, prior generation weapons. We went in with, night vision was Gen 1 or Gen 2, where, you know, they're dealing, active duty troops had 2 or 3 generations above us. I mean, everything we had, our radios didn't work.
Right.
You know, it didn't matter what we had. It was junk compared to active duty. And they look down on us. They're walking around and, you know, they're desert camo already and all their your nifty stuff. And here we are, ragtag reservists. And when we did get desert uniforms, we could wear it half and half. Like, I mean, we looked like a bunch of misfits. But about halfway through that tour, they really realized, you know, what we brought to the table was expertise.
Yeah.
You know,
and do you think that's because they being a reservist that when you're saying engineers, I'm thinking that because in the private sector, they were engineers at a certain firm. And then when they went there,
they did construction, heavy equipment operators,
exactly.
all
that's
this
what I'm thinking.
construction ops that are in an engineering unit, engineering battalion. You know, we could actually put things together. We're here, active duty guys. They don't have. They're with Leathermans trying to wire up their electrical systems. I mean, it's just completely archaic. But they marched a lot better than us. They spoke a lot better than us. But
look better. But maybe
we worked circles around.
I believe that. Yeah,
and it took a while. I remember getting reamed out by the command sergeant major for the first AD. He reamed out our entire battalion about how awful we were as reservists. But that's our major foul.
I know when we would go in, it would be called rainbowing with another unit. So there would be 3 units that would combine all of their assets and resources and then go in and then split those deployments. And one of the things that they would talk about, because looking as somebody looking down on you, right? Because you're a guardsman or whatever, right? But you're doing what your mission is tasked with, right? Yeah. So they chose to do active duty. I chose to be a guardsman. You're a reservist. So everybody made those choices, right? So we were there still trying to do the mission. And some of the stuff that we heard over and over and over again when we were on those is because the transition from, sometimes it was Tulsa that we would rainbow with, right? Is that it was a seamless transition that they never even knew that people were going out and people were coming in because of the experience that guardsmen had 35 years of, turning the jets and the experience that they have. Right. And that was not even remotely comparable to what the active duty was, meaning that the guard offered it better.
Sure. That's what you can see that. That's what I was saying because the experience and the age is there versus and what come to my mind was how you always in a couple of them deployments you were first in and last out and helping with that in the ops with you and but I can see that and and it's a shame that there isn't more of that camaraderie or respect. It has to be earned, and when you're in a situation like that, it seems like there's not much time for that you really have to hit the ground running or what.
At that time we
got through it obviously.
Not knowing what we were doing or what we were going to get into and it was a learning experience for both sides.
Sure.
I mean, we were not.
I like how it was explained it because most people don't even realize that, and I always, I say this a lot, is as what we take for granted in life. We all do in a lot of ways, but when it comes to the military and just what we take for granted, it's horrible,
So
and I'm sorry, one more thing is how people say, well, that's what you signed up for. Well,
true.
Yeah.
True and no, but.
So fast forwarding to you just got home from your 4th deployment.
Serious?
Yes.
Only crazy people go on 4 deployments.
Yeah, well, that was the first one. What happened to the other 2 in between there? Right?
Oh my gosh.
So now though that you were gone for 10 months, right?
It was about 10 and a half months total.
10 and a half months. And you have a family of what? What did you leave
family
behind?
What of kids and that?
Yeah. What? Yes, not of
Goats,
puppies or
dogs,
kittens.
pigs. We know you got 2 big newfies.
So
we got 9 kids. So we gauge our deployments by the kids. So the first deployment we had 2. The second deployment we had 5. The third deployment we had 7. And then this last one we have 9. So that's. I guess
like you better stay home.
Yeah, I need to stay home or just stay away. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Depends on what
Make
Natalie
it even the baker's dozen. Go one more deployment.
No, we're all for him not. So
Natalie's
which makes it harder.
Natalie's like,
yeah, she might have something to
say
say
about
that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's got a lot to say.
But my first deployment was long, hard.
Sounds like it right out the box.
We literally ate MREs for like 6 months.
Wow.
It was not fun. We had no AC the entire summer, which you got 130s plus with no AC.
Yeah.
The Air Force when they came out, that's when I realized I made a big mistake.
Right.
we saw Air Force people come out with these boxes, and they undid their crates, wooden crates, and it was like, almost press a button
And then boom, I can see that. Yeah.
Out
Transformer.
pops a big tent with air conditioning,
Wi-Fi.
with everything. I'm like,
What's she doing? She's FaceTiming right now. No, I'm just
Wasn't
saying.
quite
realize
that,
they're
but
No,
yeah.
I know.
But I honestly thought in 09 that there's, after the first tour, it was pretty rough. It was very rough, and came home, and as a reservist, it was like, I can't believe we lived through that. Like, even on our convoys,
Sure.
we didn't have working radios most of the time. We used little walkie-talkies, which were definitely not secure, but
Right.
that's all we had.
Right.
And we took the doors off.
You don't know no
doors off our
difference.
Humvees 'cause
Yeah. There's
they were
air
useless
conditioning. Yeah,
anyway.
55. What is that? Windows down in 55. You got air conditioning. Yeah.
So I want to interject here. The reason that we do this show, right, is so we can reach veterans who think that there are not resources out there, right? Or you are still currently serving. You are a veteran of 4 deployments, but you are still currently serving. But we want to try to reach the veterans who are sitting at home isolating, right? Who think that they're the only ones who have went through what they went through, right? And that is
Well, they're the only one that went through what they went through.
okay. You're right. about
Touche.
that. Yes. But there are resources out there for them. Hold on before you comments. So
I'm ready.
It's tough, isn't it? I
the
know.
part
I
that I know, but
I know.
there's key points that I want to talk
I understand,
about.
honey.
Right?
You got to do it.
Is-
That's why I get it.
is being a reservist, right?
Mhm.
Is you said you were gone 18 months your first trip?
Mm-hmm.
So 18 months, right? You're a reservist and living a totally different life for 18 months, right? Black and white from active duty, right? Because now you're coming home and into the civilian sector, right? So now you have to reintegrate into that, right?
Oh, we didn't reintegrate.
Okay.
I mean, that's the God's honest truth, but
this is
Exactly what she's saying.
So in 2004, nobody knew of anything.
Mhm.
When you went to the demob site, you spent just a couple days there, and they gave you a piece of paper and said, "Any problems, call these numbers," and they just shove you home.
Mhm.
And when I got home in 2004, I sat in the house for a day without no direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to give too much information, but I sat there for a day, like wondering what do I do? Like this is you go from the highs down to this.
What do you mean? Not too much information? When you said that,
Well, I don't want to give you too much information.
Well,
I got to hide something.
Oh, that's fine.
But after my
Yeah.
first day, I started tearing our house down. So this is how, like, I wouldn't say messed up I was, but for the next 2.5 months, I tore down half our house
Mhm.
to include the bathroom and the kitchen. So
Uh-oh.
my wife was here with 2 children for almost a year and a half
Right.
by herself doing all this stuff. I come home a day after I get home, I had no clue what to do with myself, so I just tore the house down.
Mhm.
And then proceeded to build a new house or build an addition onto our house for the next 2.5 months. And then after we got the roof on and got the shingles on, I went back to work. So from sun up to sundown, or before both, each day I'm out there working, screaming, yelling.
And you did
kicking.
it because why?
Because I had no clue what to do with myself. I mean, it was hard to figure out what do I do with all this energy.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I came home, and my wife had been waiting for all this time, and then I come home and completely tore her world apart. So
Mhm.
looking back, I'm like, what
Right.
in the world? Not
Mhm.
one time did somebody say, well, you're pretty messed up. Nobody knew I was.
Mhm.
Nobody.
Mhm.
So I look at it this way, like I was the first series of veterans coming home since the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
In 2004,
Yeah.
I was the first, we were
Right.
the first ones in
Right.
Iraq.
Mhm.
We're the first ones home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe, I kind of blame, like, why didn't somebody tell me I was a mess? Because I
Mhm.
wasn't, I was
Mhm.
a hot mess,
Mhm.
but nobody knew what a vet was supposed to be like either.
Right.
Sure. Mhm.
So that was, I can't blame either or, and we
Mhm.
didn't get the help.
Sure.
So going back in 09,
But there
again,
still are veterans out there
Like
that are like that, like you. Who?
oh yeah, there's a lot more things to help you now, but it took me 3 tours too. So I mean, I did the same thing every time I came home.
Right.
Was I really didn't integrate when I came
Mhm.
home. I came home and went to work.
Mm-hmm.
The second time I came home in 2010, which I was sure I wasn't coming back from after the first tour. Like there's no way, you know, the way reservists were treated. And then in 2009, it was a completely different scenario. We fell in on active duty equipment. Like, we took over their equipment. I mean, it was a very nice, smooth transition, and nobody even knew the difference between reservists and the active duty.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the way it was supposed to be. It had changed a lot. But I came home in 2010 and we went on a 17-day vacation driving through Pennsylvania. Like, my dream vacation, Gettysburg and all these, you know, places. But you know what? That was a horrible idea.
Locked
take
up in
5 kids in a van and go
yeah.
driving for 17 days. I think we went 1,700 miles on that vacation and came home completely. And then I went to work. I mean, so I didn't reintegrate then either. And
But you didn't tear the house apart.
I didn't tear the house apart, but I did get it finished right before I left for that deployment. So it took me like 5 years to finally finish everything. But then the third deployment to Afghanistan was probably the kicker, the hardest one. That made by far the most stressful deployment to Afghanistan. And when I came home, I again didn't do what I was supposed to do, but we paid dearly in the next couple of years then. So I think this deployment has been much different. But I did, you know, I never went to the VA prior to that as well. But after my third tour, you know, you get kind of some bad scenarios going, and I ended up going.
I was going to say, you've had a chance to look at the two, just sort of jokingly, but you said the one you did the construction and of your home, and then the next one you went vacation, so you knew the third one, you know, do something different or what. But real quick, I think about that only in my own personal, was when me and Dad that last time messed up with Dad. Okay. And I went out in the garage and I was lost, and I started drywalling the garage but I never knew what I was doing. But I get it. And there is a lot of people, like you say, that just don't know what to do with themselves.
Here's the part, right? That which these are the ones that we talk to, and these are the ones that we try to service, right? That they didn't stay in, right? They got out and they're stuck, right? So they're stuck, and you said here that you didn't know that those resources were there. You didn't know. You now know what that reintegration looks like, right? So if they're out there and they're stuck in that, they have no idea. So to be able, and we've had a lot of comments on this show from people who, you know, say, I know exactly what I sound just like that person, right? And that's the whole point of what we're doing. And it seems so simple to sit here and talk about the reintegration, but reintegration in itself it's a whole new ballgame, right? So you're a business owner now, but when you're trying to reintegrate into the civilian world, not only your family, but the civilian world, right?
Yeah.
What you just served your country. You just served your country in a war environment. And now what on earth in the civilian world makes you feel anything close to what you just felt when you were there serving?
Depends on where you drive. Yeah. When I drive through Toledo, you know, sometimes there's some crazy driving down there. You know, it's hard to compare. I mean, there is no comparison, but you know, I think I've learned, you know, the first time I came home, like literally I was going through the whole nightmares, I probably shouldn't say it, but you know, you wake up in the middle of the night and you got your wife in a headlock. That's an issue. Yeah. You know, there's problems there, but you know, we didn't know we had problems. It was just, this is what we do.
Right.
And you fight through it, or you work through it, and you make things, and eventually you forget it. I don't want to say forget about it, but things even out. You know, the accessibility of the VA now, though, is, you know, back then they didn't even want us. I mean, number one, we felt unwanted coming home. That's really how we felt. Now, I mean, there are a lot of helps that they do, and they don't want you to leave that MOB site or that demob site until you went through all these checks
and balance. Sure it should be that, because when you said that, as we know, but you forget is that there was the Vietnam War and how they come home and were treated, and then like you said, 2004, you come home, you were the first gen of the new warrior, as we'll call them, as they are
20-year war.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a complete, even though there's technologies and what, but they didn't know what they should have had more in place, obviously, but they didn't know what to do. So now, hopefully, through that, they see, like you're saying, the VA, just all the stuff there, whether it's equine therapy, medication, meetings, all these things that are there for them, because there are a lot of people that turn to drinking, alcohol and drugs to self-medicate, or isolate and all or of the above, and that's horrible. It is, you know.
It is, and
we don't even see them.
The community supports us a lot more too. Like at the beginning, I don't think the community
Yes,
knew what
absolutely.
to do
You
with us.
see it, yes.
And then very quickly, the people that stepped in the most were Vietnam era vets.
Mhm.
Like they've been our biggest supporters. The war on terror, and they essentially were the drivers to get us all the helps in place to make sure what happened to them didn't happen to us. So I give them a lot of kudos and credit as our biggest supporters.
Right.
You know, but getting to the VA was a big choice too. I mean, it took essentially the final straw was either you need to get help or you need to think about leaving. And when you hear that from your loved one, that's like, oh,
right.
That's a wake up call. But it was a necessary move too.
So along those lines, when you first started serving overseas, right? Because I joined when you joined, so I know there wasn't texting.
I was only 6 years old though.
You stop it.
Yeah. No, real quick. I think of Reinecker, Bob, how he said when he got his call, when he would do the calls, he'd have to go to the top of the hill with the sat phone and get how many minutes.
Okay,
you know?
we're not quite as old as Bob, but
No, but I meant till now's generation has no idea what that is to go more than 24 hours without
well, where I was
communication.
going with that is directly related to his home environment, right?
Sure.
If how he was able to engage from being married initially first to getting that once a month phone call, right? For 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, to now, you know, you just came home and the resources are different for you to be able to engage with your family members.
Oh, much different. Yeah. It went from letters to the first tour communication was non-existent.
Right.
Literally you'd spend a half hour, 40 minutes dialing on a DSN line to try to get to a line in the States, and then they would have to forward dial to your house, and the minute they picked up the phone the whole line went dead. And then so communication was very, very limited in 2003 to the point where this last tour it was, I mean, we could even FaceTime, you know, just video call almost anywhere, and even in Syria, from Syria and Iraq, it was easy and to interact with those children. But it's still not the same as when you come home and you interact. My third tour, when I came back from Afghanistan, my one daughter, Alice Liberty, she was, I want to say 5 or 6-ish at the time when I came home. And I came home and she was the happiest person, because then there was Skype in 2015. You had Skype. So we're Skyping. And she would be excited. I came home, and the second I came in the door, she completely clammed up. And for 30 days, on the 30th day being home, she told me, Papa, you can hug and kiss me today. Like, she wouldn't let me touch her for 30 days. I mean, it was very emotional, but I mean, but I was mad. Like, you know, there's times when I didn't react correctly too. I mean, there's a lot of that. Like, I didn't know how to react to her not wanting me. And that happened after the first tour too, but I just took it out on wood.
Yeah.
I mean, I beat a lot of holes in that plywood. And
that's the other part of what we do, right? So we are talking about the veteran's perspective, your perspective of what it was like to go deploy, to come home and reintegrate, right? But then there's that whole other piece of it, right? Which is your family, your wife, right? Your kids. And you know, again, the show is for some of them who don't know that there's resources here either, right? Because when we first started doing those family dinners, right, I can't tell you how many times I heard people say that with them connecting, like, oh my gosh, I'm not in this by myself, right? Like, my spouse does this or my spouse does that, right? And it's that connection. And I didn't realize, which you've heard me say, until probably 6-8 months ago in this process of having Little Blessings in this organization, of even what it looked like through a spouse's eyes, right? Because we're not the spouse, right? This is exactly why he sits here on the other side of the table. So he can talk stuff that we can't understand, right? He can interject a civilian perspective, and he can ask the civilian questions that we would have no idea even what to ask, right? And so when that became very clear to me, there was so much that these spouses' families need, right? That
yeah, they don't need the chaos that we bring either. But we come back to chaos You know, it's hard to come from Army chaos to home chaos.
Sure.
Because home chaos is completely different
Yeah,
than
oh,
Army
yeah. I was gonna
chaos.
say, yeah,
Army
you're in there
chaos
with 15 or
is
30
very
guys.
regulated.
Yeah, yeah.
You come home to the noise, and that was always the hardest thing. And I mean, I'm embarrassed as I look back, like the way I acted, you know, the screaming,
Sure.
yelling,
Mhm.
the, you know, leaving, you know, and that's how I dealt with it. It's like, honey, I can't handle this, and I'd take off and then leave her with all the chaos,
Mhm.
which was completely wrong on my
Sure.
part. And I look back, and you know, but I'll give a plug to the farm. This last tour was much different. You know, with the kids in the at the farm with the military kids, Inquine, and then Natalie also going through that. You know, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say I beat her down, not physically, it never was that, but I beat her down just through my attitudes after previous tours.
Sure.
You know, it's just, okay, we're afraid to do anything with dad home.
Right.
Kids.
Yeah.
And that was her stress.
We've heard that with other guests,
was
just on how
trying
that
to keep
works.
the kids quiet so I
Yeah.
would stay home and not run.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, I try not to get emotional, but I mean, I was an ass. You know, I really was. I was not a good person in that respect. And so her goal was to try to keep me home as much as she could as a spouse.
Right.
Where my goal was to run away from any chaos. So, you know, in the end, it was the kids were the ones suffering because she's always getting on them. They're too loud. They can't do this. You can't leave stuff on the floor, this and that, you know, these things that are trigger points for dad, or else dad is going to flip out and he's going to, you know, run. And so that's what I did a lot. This last tour, though, has been much different, where she's been able to gain a lot of strength, I think, through, you know, talking to horses, you know, the horse Inquine and all the things they do. And as well as the kids, I think they've gained confidence, self-confidence. And in the end, I think I've gained, I mean, I hope, I don't want to be overconfident, but also like I've screwed up enough times. I need to do this correctly.
Sure.
So this last tour, one thing that I guess I had the luxury to do was not go back to work right away. Even though I own a business, it was the people that have been running the business without my help for almost a year. Just let them know I'm not coming in for 2-3 weeks. And I took a full 3 weeks off before I, you know, got back involved.
Sure.
To kind of regulate myself to that chaos. And I think it's helped, you know, it's helped us and the kids.
Integrate.
And in the last month,
good.
Yeah.
I've integrated and reintegrated more than I ever have, you know, in any of the other
That's
deployments.
good. That's awesome. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think we're definitely not to the end, but I think it's helped the entire family structure. I mean, to a great degree.
And
Sure.
This is one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on, right? Is to talk about that because it's so fresh, right? Of what reintegration looks like. And it's a real thing. People don't even realize what it is, right? Because the media portrays that like this happy homecoming.
Flowers.
Oh, it is. I mean, you've seen the video.
yes, no.
It is.
Channel 13.
No, it is.
They did that.
Yeah, but that's minutes, seconds of the whole
The
process.
excitement of
Yes.
coming home, and then
Yeah.
reality hits, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Right. And it's all those emotions from living by yourself, taking care of only yourself, right?
doing what you want.
Doing what you want, when you want, correct? Serving something, and I'm going to speak from my perspective, serving something that was greater than myself, right? And to say that you are serving your country is a big word, right? It's not like I work at the grocery store. It's not even there. It's not even on the same field, right?
Yeah.
So to go from something like that and what your job was, right? The power and the control that you had to then come home and go, what am I worth? Right? And I'm not saying you said that. I can say that for some of my own. What am I worth? Right?
Yeah.
What am I
You're
worth?
worth a lot,
No.
Jamie. I mean, Billy told me how much you're worth.
Well, and when you're gone,
But I want people to really see this.
And I think when you said that, you only said it real quick, and it was in glancing, but meaning you're gone for 10 months, and you've only been home for a month.
Yeah, a month. Yeah.
Right. So that's fresh, like you said, but it's in its infancy if it's 10 months, and now you're going to be home for however long, years or whatever. So you're still adjusting, like you said, everybody is. And I think and awareness is the biggest thing. You're very aware of what you've done in the past. We don't want to make not that, I'm speaking for me. You don't want to make the same mistakes twice.
Mhm.
We've been through things. What's the biggest thing is what you learn and what you overcome from that if it's a mistake. And I'm only speaking, I'm not saying, so I think it's crazy that, and you're doing an awesome job though, from what I see.
Well, thanks. And most people don't have the opportunity to have 9 kids, like to do it wrong multiple times and then still have the chance to redo it with children that are, just start walking. My youngest is just turned 2 after I got home. I'm like, I have to do it right eventually. I have to do something different because I've been a bad influence on some of my older children in a lot of ways. And they see it, and I talk to them. The 2 that live in Tennessee now, I've spoken to them since being home, and I want to be open about my failures of the past, not to dwell on them, but to be able to
grow from them,
to get better from them. So, and I know we have a long ways to go still, but it's doing it right from the get-go, and I think it really has helped. And there's been a couple days, and Natalie even through what she has learned in the last year. There's points and times where she's like, okay, she can sense it better. Where before it used to be try to, force, I would say she was doing it, but, force that square peg into the round hole because you have to be, you have to be here. You have to reintegrate. And she didn't physically say that, but that was like, either we got to do this. It's very, very difficult. We're here. The pressure is a little bit lower.
Did you see a difference in her when you came home?
Oh, yeah, she put on like 15, 20 pounds.
You stop it. That's not what I'm talking about.
She looks great.
Yeah.
Can you flash a picture of her up here?
Yeah, we could.
I did. I think there was a lot of self-confidence that she gained in the last year. And I'm not saying she was introverted and not confident before, but just by nature of me, coming home and being an officer, I think it's just being in the Army in general. You say something and the people underneath you, they snap to it.
Sure.
If they don't snap to it, somebody's getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
And the higher you rise up in the ranks, the more apt people are to snap. And being a warrant officer is very unique. And so not having them in the Air Force or in the civilian world is, we're viewed as, I want to say like a God status, but these guys know what they're doing, or these gals know what they're doing. Listen to them, and when they speak, you better you better do it, or else you're going to be wrong. And that's it. Kind of gets to your head. It can get to your head pretty easily. Yes. And so you run around for a year, and everybody wants to know what you want to. What your opinion
they're
is.
They're sensitive to your needs,
and as soon as you say something, they're jumping.
Down.
And then you get, CW4 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a field grade officer, and it's, people try to please us, I guess. You go to a place and they're going to cater to you.
Almost like a celebrity status, but also is very, it's a whole different in the military versus.
And that's the difference between being a reservist and being active duty, right? Because active duty, you don't deal with those kind of things. As reservists, you do. Right.
Yeah. Well, active duty still. I've heard some pretty good horror stories.
Yeah.
On them.
So I don't want to take that from them, but
meaning
I'm sure when they come home and they have that reintegration with their families and the way that they respond and stuff like that.
They have more support though, I think.
Yes. And the spouses are all together. Whereas in a reservist, you guys are all over the place, right? There's no, family readiness group, or there's no spouses that are
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends on the unit. There's always a family readiness group, but this last tour was only 8-person team, as 8 men, all males. So we had 8 spouses back home, but all throughout different states.
Right.
There was
That's
no interaction between our spouses.
Right.
So the farm was essential for Natalie. I think
Sure.
really for that support
Absolutely.
structure.
Sure.
And we continue to this day.
Yeah. And I could tell you, for me personally, to watch the growth in her was just phenomenal. Just as a person, and to watch her become stronger. And it was so great for me to see that and learn so much from the spouse perspective. Right. And it was a blessing for me to be there.
And even with the kids coming around too, like you said, just, all of it. It's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And I've taken the time to be with the children at the farm there for multiple events, and they get that sly smile on their face, like because that's not normal. Normally, I would not have done anything like any of my previous deployments, and I don't say that in pride. I'm embarrassed. It's really a downside to my past, but this time I'm trying much harder to do the right thing.
And I can tell you, I can tell the difference. I could tell the difference as soon as you came home. So before you left, and we didn't see each other a lot, but very high strung, right? And this time you're just kind of like chilling.
Do I stink as bad though? That's when I left.
But it's so great. You seem like you're just a little more relaxed.
I spent the entire tour by myself, essentially. I mean, I was traveling throughout Iraq and Syria and traveling by myself, and I had a lot more time to think about how is this going to happen going home. I mean, and I think that gave me a lot of opportunity. I mean, Natalie and I did have a come to Jesus moment about mid-tour because of the past, so that we did have a pretty long, lengthy conversation. I don't think we spoke for a couple of weeks there at one point. I mean, it was just, but that was part of our development and to get through and then to be able to come home on I don't want to say good terms, but like with an understanding that I promise you, honey, this won't be the same as before because that was her fear.
Sure.
It really wasn't fear. It was a serious fear.
This is why the stories are real. And the emotions are raw, right?
I did bring you something. I know we're getting close to end time.
Oh no, we can go as long as we want.
We can.
We know the owner.
Oh, you
got
got
in
it
there? Yeah. What you got?
So I brought you something. Actually, I brought it for your husband because you told me that he stunk. But this is Cleopatra soap from Syria.
Oh.
So I did
agree
not
with the smelling.
It smells good.
I did not know
wrong,
that Syria is known for a couple things, and we're in northern Syria. They're known for rugs and soap.
Oh.
So that's made in Aleppo, Syria.
Sure, man. I took a big old snort.
Even with all their, Civil War and all stuff, they were so proud of their soap. So I got a few boxes of soap.
Well, thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
wow.
that. Yeah.
So it's yours, from halfway around the world, carried in my pocket. So
I like it. I know what it means.
I think I took
it
a
is
big old-
smelly. I'll be sneezing pretty soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I shouldn't have went down there. Whoa! I mean, it's like the perfume you spray it and then walk through it. I just kind of put a big old snort.
So we're not ending yet.
Oh
but
no!
I'm
sitting on my hands.
cannot tell you how grateful I am for what you had to share, for all the families that it will impact. I'm serious. I really like.
I don't know if I shared anything good.
You did. You shared a lot because it means a lot to me because I'm with these families all the time. That
Don't get emotional.
I know I can't help it because it does because you're impacting. We have
and you are
a lot of viewers. That it makes a difference too.
When I came home in 2015. So see now your emotions.
It's okay.
It's all right. Yeah.
So when I came home in 15,
breath.
I thought this is easy. This is the easiest I've ever. I'm like this is gonna be a piece of cake. It was the most stressful tour I ever had. Afghanistan was just absolutely horrid, and the stress was horrid. And it was a year full of just stress and anxiety. But I came home like ready to rock and roll. I had this business going, and we got involved in the business day one. Like, boom, we're off with Visiting Angels. Just running. Because the guy that I had running it while I was gone, Joshua, who still works for me, thank God, he stayed with me throughout all this. But he had been running it for a year by himself, and I hired him 2 weeks before I left. Like, I'm leaving. Here you go. And so, I mean, out of necessity, but the stuff I put my family through back then, and here I was in a successful business. I mean, it started taking off, but at home and internally, I was just disintegrating. And it took about 6-7 months before I finally just completely fell to pieces inside and started to fall externally. But still, I'm running this business. Here's
you gotta
Will.
put the facade up.
Come up. Let's
The
put our
man, the
sign
myth, the
up. Let's do
legend,
this.
all that. Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh man, you're doing great." I'm like,
"That's easy."
Heck yeah, I'm doing great. This is, we're selling. You were selling this good service. We're servicing vets. We're doing, all these things, and we were being very successful. But inside and at the family. Everybody's scared to death when I came home. They were happy when I left, but yet didn't want me to leave. And I'm going through these cycles of, every time you yell or lose it, then you're guilty.
Yeah. So walking on eggshells, and you're also in your mind already thinking it beforehand, and it's just,
Yeah,
I can imagine.
And you think people that can't handle themselves are weak. I mean, that's what we're taught. We're like,
yes,
when you get to that point where you think about suicide and things that, things of that nature, like that's what only weak people go get help for that. And so for a good almost 2 years, it was every day. Like, and I don't tell too many now. I guess I'm telling all kinds of people right now, though. But for that period of time, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about killing myself. Until 2017, the beginning of 2017, it was a rough year and a half plus from that late 2015 all the way till 17. It was, well, I guess it was 2 years, I guess, looking back, but it was a rough set of years that we went through and I went through. And a lot of that was the guilt, like, because I didn't integrate, because my only desire was to leave the chaos of the house.
right. It's fight or flight, so to speak.
It was bad. And finally, I went to the VA and started getting some help. And I mean, some of it was good help. Some was like, but it was help the same.
Sure.
But a lot of that was out of necessity.
Well, it takes a lot too, because we're men, and not that women don't, but we're defiant. We don't want to humble ourselves. Oh, it don't happen to me. We're stubborn. All them words and all them things that we just, and like you said, you don't want to, you can't say that I need help, because then you look, whether it's into the, the Air Force or whatever, because then you are now blackballed, or, you can't fly the plane, or you're not in the role. So you just suppress it, push it down, and it's got to be released somewhere, or it comes out in some form.
Oh, it does.
It does. And then it ends up being bad. So it's good that you can recognize it and look back at it. And
this is where it's good again for like the kids program, right? Is that all those kids get to be together, right?
They all have crazy parents.
Yes. Right. But that's great, because they all have the same understanding. They could talk, my mom does this or my dad does that, right? And they can relate to each other, right?
Right.
And, my mom sleeps all day, my dad sleeps all day. Those are commonalities that these kids have that.
Yeah. I never slept. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, right.
But, the one good thing the VA helped me with was sleeping. Because I literally, so when I went through, I had these crazy years. I was doing the nightmares. I had, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you sit there and stare at the ceiling, the insomnia.
Okay.
Bad.
Right. Couldn't shut your brain down, probably all kinds of stuff.
And I was, but what I ended up being diagnosed through the VA was I had sleep apnea. I have essential sleep apnea. My brain, I never snore. I don't snore. And
you wear the mask?
Now I do.
Do you?
But, my wife had mentioned that I quit breathing when I'm sleeping. And come to find out, I was barely, like literally I was killing myself by not sleeping,
right?
For however many years that was, and I ended up having like a 20% ratio of sleep, and I was only sleeping maybe 3 or 4 hours a night at the most. Like I wasn't coming home from work until after midnight, and I was leaving at 4 or 5 in the morning. Like that was just me, and that was how I was dealing with it. The fact that I wasn't reintegrating, it wasn't a healthy situation.
Stuff's going on too.
Yeah, right. And then all this is going on, and I had sleep apnea.
That's what
didn't know it.
It's just
So literally, I was sleeping probably 1 to 2 hours a night. So I was literally going crazy.
Right.
I was acting crazy, going crazy. But the VA diagnosed that. It took them a long time. They didn't think I had sleep apnea, but finally got that fixed and wear a mask, which is a whole nother thing.
Sure. No,
wearing a mask is not manly.
Right.
But the VA diagnosed that and gave me this $5,000 machine that I wear at night.
Tell all the society.
Yeah. We don't sleep better, so it's cool.
Different subject.
But my buddy, Brad Paxton, has it, and he went to the outdoor with us and had his mask, and he had to be able to plug it in and and he said the same stuff because he didn't understand it till his wife told him that, you're not breathing that whole, like you just said. And because he said the same thing, you don't want to think that's me and I don't need that. That's that other guy or whatever. No. And then he says it's unbelievable where,
I felt like Superman.
Yeah. After you started wearing it a little bit.
Gosh, yeah. I felt like Superman, but it's so legitimately I'm brain damage, I guess,
on 20%
is the reason why your brain quits telling your lungs to breathe. But yeah, that sleep machine, it helps. It's like a ventilator.
Yeah.
And it's helped tremendously. But there was a whole lot of issues going on,
Mhm.
and
That's
the main
just a side
issue was
effect. That could be a
running.
side effect or whatever, and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that you've figured that out to help.
Yeah.
And
And I
now
used to
you're
say
getting
I
the right
didn't believe in
oxygen to-
PTSD either.
Sure.
Like my
Yeah,
first
oh, yeah.
few tours, I was like, I don't even believe in
No.
that. It's not even well. Number one, it wasn't even a real thing in 2004. Nobody
Right.
even knew what it was.
Right.
Right.
But I used to deny it, and then
Mhm.
really in that period of time, after my third tour, was when it really, out of necessity, I had to deal with it, or I wasn't going to
Right.
exist anymore,
Mhm.
or a family structure for sure wasn't
Sure.
going to exist.
and back to being a man and all that, you don't want to, that's the last thing you want to say is that I'm an alcoholic and I have a problem drinking because I can't drink because if I quit drinking, I'm admitting defeat. So I've been through that in my own struggles.
Nobody
but
likes a quitter.
No, that's exactly it. And yep, you 100%. But it's okay to be a quitter in some things.
It is.
And you get a sleep apnea machine and all that helps, man. It's good for you, man. I'm happy. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to give you
Fine.
an
I think I
opportunity.
got my another bromance here going.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to give you an opportunity to plug your business.
Yeah.
What business?
You know what
You know that
business.
Oh,
the pig
I'm
farm
not
you
here
got
to-
going in the back.
No,
I'm not
I
here
know
to
you're
plug the
not, but
business.
it's important what
It
you do.
is. Visiting angels. Yeah.
Oh.
Let's hear
Well,
about it.
when I
How did
came
that
back
start?
from my last tour,
Is there a website?
is there a
Of course
website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when I asked you before the show if you have any
Visiting
plugs?
Angels
The producer finally woke up over there. Come on, Andy.
/ Monroe MI. But when I came back in 2015, within a couple weeks, I was asked to join probably like 24 organizations. I was asked to become the president of the Rotary. So within a year time, I ended up being, I was president of this and on this board and on this, doing a million things. Where this time I'm trying to lay as low
lay
as
low.
I can.
Yeah. Well, you worked. You got on the show. I watched the phone
I
start
was
ringing.
asked to come on the show.
So
I did.
visiting angels. Now, how did that start?
We don't have time to go into that.
Oh,
What's
Yeah,
the
we do.
website
We can
again?
stay as long as we want.
Well, no, because I have some follow-on questions that I want.
With this,
No.
well, wait,
Yeah.
did
I
you
just
wanted
form
to
visiting
tell what it
angels?
is.
No,
Is it a franchise?
It's a
Is it-
national company. I bought a franchise in 13.
Okay.
Visiting Angels.
.com.
I gotcha.
The end of 13,
Mm,
and then promptly got
I
deployed
think if
5
you
months later.
visit-
Oh, I got you. So
Google
it's a
Visiting Angels
franchise.
Monroe.
I got you.
Mhm.
And then when I came back from my last tour, I started a partnership with a veteran of mine in 2017, and then end of 18, I bought the Toledo office. So now I own Toledo and Monroe offices.
I gotcha. Cool. Good for you.
The home health care?
Yeah, it's home health care for
Okay.
seniors, and then we became a VA provider in 2015.
Nice.
And so now we deal with a lot of vets. We service vets in Ohio and Michigan through the Ann Arbor.
So when you say
system.
service, what does Visiting Angels do?
Personal care, home care, things like cleaning, cooking,
All of
but
it. Wow.
all your activities for daily living
Mm-hmm.
that are required. So dressing,
Oh, wow.
ambulatory care.
Really?
I mean, we take care of quadriplegics, paraplegics, and
Everything.
and
Wow.
a lot of things in
Hmm.
between. But with the vets, there has to be some sort of personal care there needed. 3 different ADLs that they have to do. Helping with showering is a big one. There's a lot of guys that have physical needs
Sure.
can't shower by themselves,
Mhm.
so that's a big one. Dressing, cooking, these things that keep them independent and living home and
I got you.
healthy and vibrant and help our society in the end.
Let's talk about Nash.
Nash the Newfie.
Nash the Newfie.
So Nash is my therapy dog. He's a Newfoundland. Prior to leaving, I was very busy with Nash. I mean, that was pre-COVID though. Now with COVID, there's not a lot of opportunity for Nash to do visits. I used to visit all the nursing facilities in the Monroe County, and I do it once a month. Now looking back, I realized that's pretty crazy. That was way too much. I was
Mhm.
going out 4 to 5 days a month
Mhm.
to all these places.
Mhm.
It was just, I had too much on my plate,
Mhm.
which when COVID allows, we'll eventually start doing some visits, but it'll be a much lower repetitious.
Because
Mhm.
that time's coming from somewhere.
Yeah,
Is
he's
this-
145
Is this
pound
his
Newfie.
Twitter account
Yeah,
or
Nash.
Instagram?
No, he's on Twitter. I think it's Nash and Newfie 2 or 1.
Okay.
But there's Nash.
So how many
is almost-
people work
he's over
with
5
Visiting Angels in your Toledo office?
in the boy. I don't know numbers. I've been out of the country for a year. I know. Pre-COVID we had
440.
pre-COVID we had about 180 employees between the 2 offices.
Wow.
Wow.
We're now down to probably just over 100
100.
total between the two offices. So I don't know the numbers on there, but I mean, we do
That's
lot
of
of work.
scheduling. Yeah,
Oh, it's a heck of a lot of scheduling.
can imagine.
And you're working
Oh.
with people,
Yeah.
people
Oh,
are
yeah.
problems.
Yeah. Attitudes, everything. Yeah. That's.
But you know,
crazy.
we have a
Huh.
great company though. You know, our philosophy or mission statement is providing liberty and dignity through service. So I mean, I kind of put a military flair on it, but truly we, try to provide liberty and dignity to those people that we care for through what we do, as well as our caregivers. So our employees, I hope, they're part of that family. We're also providing a means for them to extend their mission, which is providing
Are they
care for
veterans that
others.
work for you as well?
We have a few. Yeah, we have a few. We
I
have a
gotcha.
handful of
That's
veterans.
cool.
Most of our caregivers are a lot of retired females work for
Right.
us. Ladies that either lost their husband, took care of their husband, or some other, or want to serve as veterans, because we do so many vets.
Mhm.
I mean, we probably do have probably 80 to 90 veterans through the VA that we care for between both offices.
Mhm.
Well,
That's a lot of vets. We
Yeah.
now at
That's
Christmas
awesome.
time, let's transition to that because I want people to know that you do this as well. So
Angels for Vets.
Angels for Vets. Tell people what Angels for Vets is.
Well, I want to say 5 years ago. I think it was a year after we started working with the VA. We started a program called Angels for Vets. So at Christmas time, we wanted to do something special for our veterans. So we got usable items from the community donated, and then we take them to our veterans at Christmas time.
Mhm.
So it's become more of an adopt-a vet. So we've set up Christmas trees at various locations, and then
Did
that
that
has
last year, didn't you?
yeah, the
We
farm
have-
helped.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
Little
that's
Blessings
right.
helped out.
That was awesome. Yeah, I remember now.
And the first year we did it, I want to say we did like 20 vets. And the second year we did it, it was in the close to 40.
Mhm.
And then the last 3 years, it's been 40 to, I think last year was probably 50 some, 60
Wow, so
some
there's been
vets
an
that we did.
increase.
Yeah,
That's
there's been
awesome.
an increase because we got
Cool.
more community involvement. But
Sure.
the goal was to take usable laundry baskets, at least one to every vet. So it had, food things, clothing
Right.
items, all new clothing items, things like toilet paper, cleaning items,
Mhm.
things that they can use every day so they don't have to buy, not so heavy on the food, but more on the usable toiletries
Huh.
and soaps and laundry soaps and these things. And
So who helps you with that? Is that something?
I used to run it almost single-handedly. I mean, I obviously had help, but that was a stressful time for me
Right.
until this last year when I was gone. And then all kinds of community players stepped in to assist, and the office staff gave them, they just took it up and they ran with it, and it ran much better with me gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, I get it. So you put a tree up, didn't you? Put
Yeah.
a tree up and with
Mhm.
those things on it and stuff.
and
Well-
people would get a donate. They'd take an ornament, and the
Right.
ornament will have the
A
first
family
name
or the
of the vet, and then his
list.
size
I
and
gotcha.
his
Right.
service that he, was deployed in.
But what about those angels? What's so special about those angels on the tree?
The angels? Well, I don't know if were they angels or birds. I don't know what they did this last year. So we kind of
They were
flipped.
angels.
Okay, the wooden angels.
Mhm.
Okay, they're painted angels. So,
Mhm.
this last year, we've painted them for a couple years, but this last year, I had my daughter. She painted all of them by hand.
Mhm.
Put so they're all unique. So those are collector's items. We
Mhm.
want those to be collector's items every year. So we
So they
started dating those. We didn't do the ornaments the first 3 years. So we've only done ornaments 2
Mhm.
years in a row. But now we have these collector ornaments where, I want people to remember that we
Sure,
helped
that's
out Angels
yeah,
and Vets. We helped the
absolutely.
vet.
That's a good plus.
you
A good plus in it. And she is which one? Well,
I
I don't know. I know
Anna.
we had the dinner that at the farm, the first one of Thanksgiving one,
Mhm.
and I sat when I first met the family. I sat across from one and they had the paper towel down there or the paper cloth,
Mhm.
and everybody was drawing. I looked over and like all your kids are drawing, and then there's a whole scene going here into the next child and the next child, and I'm like, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, man,
Yeah,
what
Anna is
talent!
spectacular.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was
sure
watching.
there's- sure some war drawings on
Yeah,
there
yeah,
too.
yeah. Hey, well, at the farm this Monday for graduation, she was drawing up the cards, right?
Mhm.
And I had the camera. There's some footage that we'll show when we do the
Yeah.
graduation stuff.
Mhm.
But I had that little camera that you give me, Andy, and I plugged it right over her shoulder, and she's drawing the grass and how the texture of the table made the grass look. She goes, "Oh my gosh, you're right." I go, "Yeah, look at that." She is, man. Like she flipped the card out in
Yeah.
like minutes,
Right.
minutes.
Mhm.
She's
And
talented.
she is
Yeah.
going somewhere with that, huh?
So I'm going to have her do them this year again. We're
Yeah.
going to do probably a different wooden ornament
Right,
than last
sure.
year.
Mix
and
it
it'll
up
be
a bit.
dated
Sure.
for 2021. But
Yeah.
we're moving forward. we're going to start it again for
Awesome.
that.
Well, I know we could go on and on
Yeah.
and on forever, but we can't because people won't watch that
That's
long.
true.
But I want to give a couple little shout outs to what's happening with Little Blessings real
Mhm.
quick. I do want to say real quick, we did graduate 12 kids in our first military SEAL program, with social emotional assisted learning with our equine, which was
Yeah.
amazing. A program that Miss Kit and Kyle developed and put together. 324 hours those 12 kids had spent in these programs, learning regulation, how to adjust to their emotions, what emotions look like, teamwork, and community service. So it was an amazing program. So I'm so proud of Kit and Kyle.
Mhm.
So proud of all of those kids. All of the kids grew from that program. It was amazing. Definitely giving a shout out to Duke Farms too for the facility that we have it at.
Mhm.
We have a family dinner that's coming. Check out our website. That's where everything's going to be now. People keep asking me when dates are. Go to our website, littleblessingsni.com. It's got all our events on it, and then we blog after the events as well, so you can see what happened at the event. So tomorrow night we have a family dinner from 6 to 8. Just bring a dish. We have Jeff Ott from Little Brown Jug, who's going to be providing pulled pork and gluten-free buns and mac and cheese. So yeah, everybody's going to bring a dish.
So
So
where's that at?
that's going to be at the farm, but it's from the Little Brown Jug.
Right, but I mean, it's going to be in the arena.
It's
or
going to be in the
what's
arena. Yeah. Yep.
What time?
From 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yep. You got to bring a dish.
It's on the website.
In a
It's on the
hungry-
website. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
website.
We have a women's retreat coming up. There's still time to register for that. Women veterans are sponsored. We do 5 female veterans with 5 civilians. And then I just want to put this out here just real quick. This is our women veteran fundraiser coming up June 12th on the website as well. And there's sponsorship opportunities if you want to help make this a great event. So we want to thank you again, Mr. William Bruck,
Yeah.
for everything,
Thank you so
for your
much,
service to this
man.
country and all that you
I know
do.
I was looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yep. And we want
I'm
to.
sorry I disappointed. I didn't mean to disappoint you.
No
Man,
disappointment.
your stories, that's,
You know,
you
I've
got
been
it,
told I
yeah.
have a face for radio and a voice for newspapers. So
Something
I don't
like that.
know. What?
Comments in the chat agree.
You guys, thanks for watching as always, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us get the word out there for what we do. God bless and have a good night.